Hello, welcome to Strength for Tomorrow Radio. My name is Stuart Thompson, and today I have Kate Rooney with me. Kate has been a client across Functional Fitness for, I think it's 4 years now?
4 years,
Just over 4 years.
It is over 4 years.
So yeah, Kate, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from and
Yeah, so I grew up in Kilkeel. Hopefully I've lost the accent. Hopefully you can't catch the Kilkeel accent too much. It depends. If I'm speaking with people from Kilkeel, it comes out pretty broad. But other than that, I'm okay.
What's wrong with the Kilkeel accent?
Nothing.
Nothing, okay.
No boxes and noxes. Nothing at all. Yeah. But I'm living in Hilltown, Maybridge currently, and I've been working in the south of Ireland for about really all of my career, probably for the last 15 years. So I think that softened the accent somewhat.
Yeah, it's taking it away, taking the edge off.
Yeah.
Okay, and how many cats do you have?
Right now?
Yeah.
I've
Not
got
with you, but...
Right, 10 at last count, yeah. And we've gone up to, I think 12 has been the max, and probably no less than about 4 or 5 in the last 5 years, yeah.
That's a lot of kitty litter.
Yes, well, yes, it is, yeah.
How many trays do you have? Like, I mean,
We don't have any trays.
Just put them
We just
out.
let them do what they want
Do
to
what
do.
they want,
yeah,
where they want.
Yeah. Like, I'm very big into nature and letting people just do their thing, so...
And
yeah.
how many does Johnny, your partner Johnny, how many does he think you have?
6.
He thinks you have 6.
Yeah.
Hopefully-
Most of them are black and white.
Hopefully
so,
Johnny's not watching
No,
this.
he isn't. He never watches anything I do. Yeah.
That's good. And I'm going to ask you what you do for a living in a slightly different way. Can you describe your job badly? What I mean by that is, if someone asked me what I did for a living, I would say I get up early and I tell people to exercise and move, and then I tell them how they did it wrong.
Right.
Okay? So you have to
Okay.
drive, people have to drive from that what I do for a living. So
Okay, so I spend about 80% of my time on Zoom. That's it.
that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And for it's quite vague. So for
Well, there was a point in there, as in, and I'll explain it in the next.
if there's anybody out there who isn't Sherlock Holmes or anything, what do you do a bit more succinctly?
So I spend about 80% of my time on Zoom listening, because it's very, very important to listen. So we can all talk and we can all give answers and we can all give advice. But I work as a coach, and the essence of a good coach is to be able to listen to what the client is saying and ask really good questions off the back of that. So listening is part of what I do. And I know you'll probably not believe that since I'm in the gym with you all the time, but yes, 80% of the time I actually don't speak.
I was just saying, what were you saying? No, I do believe that, because I've seen all the great reports that you're getting on social media for your feedback, and even like from chatting to you in between your sets and things. It's a really important skill set and a really clever skill set to be able to get someone to do what they want to do, but kind of bring it out of their own mind, like not kind of planting things there, but not telling them directly.
Yeah,
I think that's a fascinating skill set to have.
And actually, I was with a client yesterday, and we were only discussing that, and she actually said, she goes, Kate, I've had this stuff in my head for years, but I couldn't get it out. And she goes, and you haven't told me to do anything, but you've been able to pull it all out, and that's pretty much what I do, and I love that.
Yeah, so it's like asking the right questions.
Just the right question,
And yeah, I'm sure, is it frustrating at sometimes, or is it?
Not really, because I think everybody has to derive at that place in their time. So it's not about me. It's not about, am I frustrated? Do I think they should be here sooner? Because they have to do their own journey.
Yeah.
You know, so they'll get there when they're ready.
Yeah. I think that's a skill that I'm trying to work on, especially from a nutritional point of view, trying to help people arrive at that point themselves.
Yeah.
But from a coaching point of view, when I'm trying to teach, say, a squat or a deadlift, there's technical information. I think coaching in that sense is trying to deliver information in a way that makes sense to them, so they don't hurt themselves and so they do it more effectively. So I couldn't really ask too many questions about it. You know, I have to kind of... So I suppose there's 2 elements to coaching there, would you say?
Yes,
there's
and I do a
softer
bit of that as well, which is,
Yeah.
I would look at that as mentoring, which is a more directional approach, whereas coaching, pure raw coaching, is non-directional in its approach, you know, completely non-directional. Yeah. So, but I do a mixture of mentoring and coaching with people, depending on what the client needs.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's always interesting chatting to you and the places you travel. Like, I know you don't do as much travelling as you used to.
No, thank goodness.
All over Ireland. We'll get to that later on. But now I'm going to do a little bit. It's a bit different. It's a bit of an icebreaker.
Right.
I've already broken the ice, but we'll get into it. Overrated or underrated game. You ever heard of it?
No.
So I give you a topic or a theme or a word,
Okay.
and you have to say whether it's overrated or underrated. And you can explain it if you want. If you don't want to,
Perfect. Excellent.
I might have to ask you more questions about it though.
Go
First
for it.
one, Love Island.
No comment.
Really?
No comment. And I couldn't even get started in Love Island, Stuart, because we'd have to turn off the cameras and there'd be a few bleepers. So let's just skip past Love Island straight away.
I think that's an overrated.
Overrated. Completely overrated.
Dessert?
Overrated. I don't eat dessert. Like, ever. I've never had an ice cream in my life.
That is probably the most controversial thing that's going to come out
You've
of this.
heard it here first. Dessert is overrated.
It's not overrated.
Completely overrated.
It's brilliant. Don't choose a starter ever. It's a waste of money, waste of time. Fireworks.
Overrated.
Overrated?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're not great for wildlife.
It's like lighting your money on fire.
No, not great for wildlife. Scare the horses, scare the cows. Overrated.
Yeah.
Should be banned, in fact. Yeah.
We're getting very strong opinions now. Donald Trump's hair.
Underrated. Absolutely underrated. That is a cool hairstyle. Great colouring. You know, the fact that he's able to flip that right across into skies and nobody is none the wiser. I think it's totally underrated.
I agree because...
Go Donald.
Because nobody rates it at all. That's like...
Yeah.
So it has to be...
Brilliant
has to be underrated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Brilliant hairdo, yeah.
It's so far down to this.
Fantastic hairdo.
Like Boris Johnson in comparison, there's no like...
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's just...
He seems to be going for the Donald Trump, but he hasn't made it.
No, Donald has put effort into his hair, whereas Boris has just got out of bed and forgot to comb it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Sorry, Boris, if you're listening.
Boris isn't listening. Boris is too busy.
It's flat out, yeah.
Yeah. Barbecues.
Oh, totally underrated. Love barbecues. Yeah. Love barbecues. Yeah.
Agree with that.
And Johnny, my partner, is the barbecue king. If there's any barbecue kings out there, I'm afraid he has that.
He has the crown.
Yeah, big time.
What about... Next one is going to the beach, overrated or underrated?
Underrated.
Yeah.
I think the therapeutic, properties of the water and the sand and the sea and the waves is completely underrated, and I don't think people use it enough for mental health even, so...
Even in the winter it's nice, isn't it?
No, it's absolutely beautiful.
Gardening.
Totally underrated. Again, same idea. Therapeutic properties, being outside in your wellies, a pair of gloves, wind, rain, new fantastic plants, is totally underrated, and I don't think enough. I think people think it's for older people or retirees, and I'm being 21 at present. I love it. Yeah.
I think when you get your own house, you take an interest in it. Before that, it's just a chore. Yeah.
Well, I've always loved gardening.
Yeah, I've always liked that. The Beatles.
Totally and utterly overrated.
Yes.
Completely overrated.
Couldn't agree more. Carol singing.
Totally overrated.
Really?
Yeah, couldn't be coping with people coming around singing carols.
I think
most of them can't sing.
Yeah, well, I haven't had many coming around my doors, but I think I think it's over. I think it's underrated.
I'm not a big Christmas fan either. No, I don't put up a Christmas tree. There's another bit of controversy for you, Stuart.
You just put lights on whatever things you have now about the garden. French toast.
I think it's underrated. I love French toast. Yeah. If it's done right. I like it. And
a bit of a random one to finish on, the big toe.
I would say completely underrated, because if you drop something on your big toe, you're going to know about it. So,
If you lost your big toes, you wouldn't be able to stand up.
It would be pretty difficult.
You'd be crawling.
Yeah. And shoes probably wouldn't, work right. You couldn't wear sandals.
No, that's true.
Yeah, so totally underrated.
Brilliant. That's that part done. There's no more fun allowed.
Brilliant.
That's it over.
We're getting serious now.
Yeah. What brought you to cross-functional fitness over 4 years ago? In all your time you've been here, there's been abuse, there's been borderline bullying, there's been sexism, there's been the music choices, and you're
terrible. Yeah.
What brought you here? What made you stay for so long?
Every day. I question that every day. Actually, I was thinking about this a couple of weeks ago, and you probably don't know this story. So I was on holidays, and it was March. And I think everyone on holidays thinks, when I get back from this holiday, I'm going to go to the gym. Do you know, I think that's quite... Now, it wasn't because of shape or weight or anything like that. I've never struggled with that. But around 38, 39, I felt like I wasn't as strong as I used to be. I could feel my weight. I could feel the strength kind of leaving. So I wanted to come to the gym to get strong. So I contacted a friend and I says, I don't like the gym, the gym. Do you know of any other gyms? And she said, yeah, this great guy, Warren Point, blah, 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 blah. And I says, brilliant. So I typed in Warren Point and you popped up and came, absolutely loved it, loved the gym, loved the setup, and texted her and said, Stuart was brilliant. And she said, who's Stuart? And I said, the guy in the gym. She goes, the guy in the gym's name's not Stuart, Kate. And I sent her a photograph of where I'd come to. And she went, that's not the gym. And I said, well, that's the gym I'm going to now. So actually, I came by accident.
It's your lack of direction
totally
brought you here.
Lack of direction. The fact that everyone knows me knows I can't go from A to B without getting lost. But once I got here, I absolutely adored, I adored the setup. And again, my main thing that day was, can you make me stronger?
Yeah.
Not can you make me have a six-pack or, have good arms or a good bum. It was, I wanted to be strong. And I was astute enough to know that strength would bring the other things as a byproduct.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I think that's huge. And since then you've gotten a lot stronger.
Yeah.
I was actually looking back over all your records from whenever you started here.
Very good.
You've like doubled everything at least for
Brilliant.
everything you were lifting. So you probably don't remember what you were doing.
Yeah.
And then a bit of a more controversial one. What type of music do you like to listen to whenever you train?
Well, usually anything that you play would be the opposite of that.
What way?
As in, well, I like female vocals, for an example.
That's
there's
sexist.
not very female vocals. And it was sexist that they're not being played in the gym. Yes, absolutely.
No, but
I would
they're
agree with you completely
the songs
at that
are,
point, Stuart.
The songs are chosen on the basis of merit.
Merit?
Yeah.
So there's no female vocals.
I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
It just happens to be the best songs
Just 100%
on that
male
playlist.
vocals.
Blame Spotify.
Blame Spotify. Okay,
Yeah.
Spotify's fault.
Have you any favourite artists or songs in particular?
The Boss.
He's a male though?
Sorry, now Bruce, if you are listening, Mr. Bruce Springsteen, I'm more than happy to get on stage, Dublin or Belfast, wherever you might be playing next, yeah.
Do you know Courtney Cox?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
without a doubt, yeah.
But
Do you think, is he listening?
he's bound to be. I mean, what else would he be? He's got his
The
Broadway
Old Legs Agency and Cross-Functional Fitness together. Seriously.
He's got his own Broadway show back on again, so
yeah,
he's
like
busy.
probably maybe it's a bit busy, yeah. Time zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be the problem.
So you have any apart from Springsteen, would you just listen to 1 hour of Springsteen?
Absolutely, yeah.
Any particular songs?
Wrecking Ball definitely
yeah.
Gets me going, yeah. But I do, in fairness, I do like some of your music choices, Stuart. Some of them.
Well, I've had a lot of compliments in the last week from new clients about my music.
Male clients.
Well, it's not for me to cast those aspersions, but they appeared to be male, yes. And yeah, they thought the music was great.
Right,
and
okay.
I'm afraid it's going to stay. So you get earphones or something.
I'm going to can I play my own playlist?
Yeah, if you want.
Okay, great. Well, that'll sort that out, yeah.
Okay. What would you say is your favourite exercise? Of everything I've put you through, what is your favourite exercise?
I used to really like squats. That used to be my favourite.
Used to.
But I think now that I've moved on to the deadlift and I'm starting to see gains in the deadlift, I'm enjoying the deadlift.
Yeah.
So I'm enjoying it because I've started to see really good progression in it. And I think whenever you see progression in something, you like it more. Yeah, I think if you struggle with an exercise, even though if it's good for you, you kind of lose interest with it. Yeah. So at the minute I'm really enjoying the deadlift. But I did like squats. I kind of always liked squats. They never really bothered me.
Yeah.
Until
the weight got heavier.
Until they got heavier, and then I decided I didn't like them anymore. Yeah.
So in other words, you just weren't going as heavy.
Yeah. I just like an exercise that I'm good at, basically.
Yeah. And if you had to put your worst enemy through one exercise in particular, what would it be?
Oh, Bulgarian split squats. Without a doubt. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I really do not like them. Yeah.
And who is that enemy?
I wouldn't want to say.
Thought a chance not on there. Yeah, so can you tell me a little bit about what, like, your experience of growing up with health and fitness, exercise, your attitude towards it, your exposure to it from a young age and stuff, and how that changed? Yeah,
so I suppose I was thinking about this recently, and you wouldn't be aware of this, but I was force fed at school. So I was force fed in primary school regularly, like almost daily, definitely weekly. I was a really, really fatty eater, so I'd rules with food. So I couldn't have certain things on my plate, and if that was on my plate, like beans for instance, I wouldn't eat anything else that was on the plate. So I had a really difficult relationship with food growing up. Now, not anorexia or bulimia or anything like that. I didn't have an eating disorder, but I had an unhealthy relationship with food. And in school, if they saw that you weren't eating, and I used to try to hide my food, I'd move it around the plate and I'd mush it up, they would force feed me and physically take me into a room, put me down on a chair. I remember a school teacher holding both my arms and a spoon being physically put into my mouth, to physically force feed me to eat the food, which was horrific. And what that did was any distaste I had for certain food groups, well, that only exasperated it. That didn't encourage me to start eating vegetables. That made me never want to eat vegetables because it was disgusting.
Yeah.
So for years I didn't eat vegetables at all. So I'd say my entire childhood, I'd say, Stuart, up until about 20, I didn't eat any vegetables at all.
Yeah.
Like no vegetable groups whatsoever. I would have had chips, pizza, chips, sausages, chips, chicken, chips with everything. And then as I got older, I started, trying food because I wasn't being forced any longer.
Yeah.
It wasn't, and I don't like being told what to do. So
really?
So that was, they really were the wrong tactics.
It's news to me.
But slowly but surely, and I am now 43 coming this July, there's probably very little I wouldn't eat. I don't like beans, still don't like beans, but there's, like, I eat fish, I eat meat, I eat all vegetables, rice, everything. But that was a really long process. That was about 15 years of introducing maybe mince or introducing rice or introducing, different bits and pieces.
Just trying
so it's taken me an awful long time to get to a stage where I now have a proper functioning diet with different food groups in it. Yeah. But
great,
definitely very difficult at school, and you knew because you would see them walking around the tables, and I can still remember that feeling of going, oh gosh, they're going to look at my plate, they're going to see that I haven't ate this, and I would have tried to eat maybe the bit I did like, and would have tried to, say, but I've ate this, I just don't like that, but it was
Didn't
never,
work. I have a cousin, and he's not listening to this, but he used to not like potatoes, and so I don't know, maybe this is a tactic that could have been used, but he used to put it down his pockets. He'd put them in his shoes and his wellies. He'd hid the potatoes all over the house, and his mum would find them months later. Yeah. So that was his way around it, being,
well, I used to try to bribe people around me at the school table, would you please take a potato? Yeah.
No,
so, but it was pretty difficult. Like fitness, I was always really fit as a child. And I was always like, people laugh if they see me now, like 20 years later, they say, Kate, you're the same size you were 20 years ago. I never put on weight, never lost weight, never, my body just kind of stayed the same and has been the same. I'd say I could probably still fit into my school uniform at this stage. But I was always kind of active. I was always running around, handstanding, cartwheeling, in the estate. Loved running, would have been part of the cross-country team. Nothing major, like I wasn't winning any awards, but I was, always very, very active. So I would have been active, really active as a child, always outside, always playing. I went through about 3 bikes, because I was constantly on the bike. I cycled everywhere. But I had definitely a difficult journey with food.
Yeah. And I think you said before, did you do a marathon or something before as well?
I did Berlin, London and Newry. There were not top times. I got to the finish line.
Yeah, that's all it's about, isn't it?
And I've done a few halves and a few 10Ks and stuff.
Yeah, very good. Yeah. I remember you told me that before we start here, but what is it about strength training and lifting weights and stuff you really enjoy?
Oh, we're going to get controversial, Stuart,
No?
For me, and this has always been the case, I really, disliked is probably the wrong word, but it wasn't for me. I don't like a woman asking a man to lift something for her. I don't like having to ask somebody, especially a male, will you lift that box up the stairs if I'm able to lift that box up the stairs? So I could never kind of comprehend why women would ask men to lift stuff and carry stuff. Well, not if it's not needed. Yeah. Kind of thought, well, you can carry that yourself. Yeah. And I just think that's actually unfair to men as well. I don't mean this in a sexist way. Kind of going, well, it's not right that you're asking him to do it. You can do it yourself. So for me, strength training was always about independence. Always about looking after myself now, because I know when I get older, I don't want to be bent over. I don't want to be, relying on people. Yeah. And I want to be able to look after myself now. And independence would be pretty far up my value list. It would be important to me. Yeah. And strength training for me is looking after your body, keeping yourself strong so that you can look after yourself later on. And also, I can carry the box up the stairs without, I would ask somebody to help me. Yeah.
And you can look after others as well when you're stronger, because there's some people, like, it's not their fault and they'll have some sort of illness or disability.
Without a doubt.
And they need help. So if we're, who are able-bodied are stronger, then we can do those things for them. No, 100% agree. This is a point of controversy. The fire service have actually reduced the weight in their test.
Right.
Because there was a drive to get more women in a few years ago.
Okay.
And they dropped it down from like 50 kilos deadlift to 30 kilos.
I could join the fire brigade then.
You could join the fire brigade with your big toe. You know, like it's because they've dropped. I have a problem with that.
So they've dropped it down to 30.
They've dropped the weight down to try and get.
Well, I would have a problem with that, because if you are a fire person, male or female, and you have to carry somebody out,
the weight doesn't
chances
care.
are they're not 30. You know, they're going to be heavier than that, and you need to be able to do the job at the end of the day. Yeah,
exactly. Physics does not care if you're male or female. At the end of the day, if you can lift it, you can't lift the weight. You know, if you can carry a body, you can carry.
No, I think there should be, you know.
Yeah. So no, 100% agree.
It should be relative to the role. Yeah.
No, I'm still going to open doors for ladies. I think that's good manners, and let ladies go in first.
Yeah.
But that's not to do with it.
And I don't have an issue with that.
Yeah.
If a guy opens the door for me, I don't go, "How dare you open the door?" I just say thank you very much.
I know.
So it's not about that. It's about, I don't want to ask you to do something, not because you're a man. I don't want to ask you to do something that I can do myself, or I should be able to do myself with a bit of work, with a bit of effort.
I
you know.
No, sometimes I like winding you up here, just push the buttons a little bit. You might have gathered that. Yeah, and you enjoy, like, you've really got into the weight training. Last week you lifted the start of the week, 102.5 kilos.
Yes.
Don't forget the 0.5.
Do not forget the 0.5. Yeah.
In the deadlift for 2 reps, and you know when you started off, you're probably doing like 30 or something on the bar. Like that was probably that's the minimum you kind of put in the bar. And your squat, what was it? 90? No, sorry, your squat was 72.5 you'd done before.
Yeah.
For a few reps, and then your bench press 44 kilograms, I think.
Yeah, that's the one I'm having difficulty with.
Yeah.
So practice that one.
Yeah. So do you enjoy like you know it's a really hard grind trying to push out that last sort of second, third, fourth, fifth rep. You know, trying to get those reps out, whatever it is you're aiming for. Do you enjoy that process, or do you?
Yeah, I think whenever, again, you said to me, it must have been pre the first lockdown. We're not going to talk about lockdown, but anyway, the pre-first lockdown, and I remember you saying, no, like I says, no, I can't push it that extra bit, and you were saying, well, you can, you know, you just have to kind of push through that barrier, and that was a big mind shift change for me, because I thought, I don't want to because it's difficult and it's hard and I'm giving up, but I can. Now, it might go at 2 miles an hour and it might be really super slow and really super hard, but you'll get there. And every time you kind of can push through that barrier of that, you know, horridness, you're better the next time.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that was a big shift change for me.
Yeah. It's that process of adaptation. You'll just keep fighting it. Quite recently, I've tried to adopt the 5-second rule for people, trying to encourage people to, if you get it tough in the last rep, push for 5 seconds, fight with it for 5 seconds, and generally you'll win the rep. You know, not always, sometimes you the spot.
But it's 5 seconds more than you were doing.
Yeah, you just go, no, give up. No, try and keep going at it, or squatting or deadlifting, whatever it is, try and struggle with it. I don't obviously don't injure yourself, but yeah, no, that's a good one. And how would you say that strength training or weight training in general has helped you in your everyday life or in your work?
I'd say hugely. From a physical perspective, when you feel strong and healthy, I think that helps the mind. There's an absolute correlation between body and mind, you know, healthy body, healthy mind. And if you're feeling weak and kind of tired, well, you're not motivated to do anything, and that's physical labour or, you know, work. And when you're feeling physically strong and fit and up for it, you just have that different attitude. So it definitely puts the mindset into a different place. And secondly, weight specific, and I've only found this with weights because I've done loads of different, I do the Pilates, I do the hiking and different things, but weight specific training, when you're lifting, I was only explaining this to somebody the other day, when you're lifting that bar, the deadlift for instance, for me when I got to the 100 last week and the 102, I'm pretty maxed out at that stage. I am, you know, as far as I can take myself today. So the focus that's required to kind of get your head into a place where you say, I can and I will, and then to physically get it up is huge. And if you're able to adapt that focus into your work life, which is what I know have now seen a correlation between, and you're able to get into that zone, because that's what it is, it's getting into the zone. And if you can get into the zone with weightlifting and you can adapt that to other parts of your life, well, that can be very beneficial, you know, on a whole host of things.
You can really, you can push in that.
Yeah,
I know the feeling whenever you're every sinew, everyone's screaming to lift that. And it's training the mind, as you said, to do hard things. And a lot of time in life, you don't, you know, the hard things are the most beneficial, but we don't want to do them. You know, the things we procrastinate about.
No, absolutely. And any day I've been in here where I've maybe had a tough day or a bad day, it's my mind, not my body. It's my mind that has at the door said, you're feeling tired today, Kate. You're probably not going to lift too much today, Kate. And I have already preconditioned myself to what I'm going to do before I come through the door.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, so it's the mind, yeah.
Do you ever find that whenever you tell yourself, oh, I'm feeling really tired, 10 times out of 10, you will, you'll be tired then?
Yeah,
you know, whereas
absolutely,
if you kind of don't tell yourself that or don't have that
without
attitude,
a doubt, yeah. Well, your body can only react to what it's being told, you know, so, yeah.
Yeah. And how would you find, like, weightlifting or strength training, how do you find in regard to women? Like, do you think there's some preconceived notions about strength, fitness,
I
weight
could
training,
literally
and
do
gender?
an entire session on this, Stuart. So
let's go.
First preconception is, and I had it myself, I remember about 5 years ago going to a personal trainer and saying, right, I want to get strong and I want to lift weights, but I don't want to be bulky. I've been doing weights for about 4 years and I'm still not bulky, so I had this impression that the second I lift any weight at all, I'm going to be pumped out and I don't want to look like that. You know, so that was the first thing, you know, as in the second I lift anything at all, I'm going to get bulky, and that is just so wrong. And if it does happen to people, well, let me know how you do it, because there's obviously a secret. So that was the first thing. The second one, I was at a party about 3 or 4 weeks ago and we were chatting, and I was probably sitting in something similar like this, and I said to a guy, yes, I do a bit of powerlifting, and he says, but you don't look like a powerlifter. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, well, you don't look like a powerlifter. He says, like, you're not big, you're not muscly, you don't look very strong.
You thought, I could pick you up and press you
over
the head.
What? So I just took off my jacket and flexed the old guns. You know, and then he decided against it. But it's that preconceived, like, I'm 4'11.5. That's 0.5 is very important. I weigh about 8 stone and I'm not bulky. You know, so therefore when you do see me, you don't technically see somebody that's strong, even though, like, I had a friend at our house yesterday, he's about 6'2", much heavier than me, and he's deadlifting and struggling. You know, so size is definitely, you know, doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. And the preconception about women lifting weights is that they're going to be bulky and that's going to be ugly, and people see, they nearly connect the two, a bulky woman as a ugly manly woman, you know, and that's not the case at all. There's lots of women that are, you know, muscular, that are gorgeous, that are beautiful, that are strong, and there's just this preconception, you know, against that.
No, I think it's brilliant. And since I've started this, the predominant amount of my clients have been female, and I like coaching females. It's a couple of demographics, females and older people, because they listen better. They don't have any kind of, not most of the time, they don't have any bro science, or don't have, well, this guy in the gym does it like this, so I'm going to do it like that. They listen to what you're saying, they kind of take it on board, and they try and apply it, and that's why I love coaching women, which is great that they come here, because they can, in a safe environment, they can, you know, learn to lift properly, they can build life skills, deadlifting or squatting or whatever. They can go into the gym, they can have the confidence to go on holidays or wherever, have it set up at home. They can do that lifting at home safely and confidently, and whereas sometimes guys, not all the time, don't want to kind of alienate the male audience, but
even though we're alienating the female audience with the music choice, but
we're alienating everybody.
But
a lot of time guys, not everybody obviously, but sometimes they kind of have their own little bad habit. I don't think if you go driving and your dad's taught you how to drive and you're driving, and then all of a sudden you go to the instructor and the instructor's like, don't do that, don't do this, you're doing that wrong, and you're like, oh, what? It's kind of like that, you know, you've sort of picked up all these little bad habits, so no, it's great. The amount, like, so many more females are training with weights, which is
brilliant.
It's brilliant. I did an episode before about osteoporosis, and
I read that,
I heard that, we chat about that all the time, but it's so much more important, I would say, for women than guys. Guys hold strength and guys hold muscle naturally better, and their bones will then benefit from that, but women do not, so that's why weight training is so beneficial.
And especially, like, my age, I'm 43 now, so somebody has told me that I will be, you know, I will go through the menopause. I still don't believe it. I still don't think it's going to happen to me, but I'm going to prepare for it, you know, and certainly weight training in regards to that is hugely beneficial. Do you know?
Well, I was going to say there's two things you should never ask a woman: her age or her weight. But you've already given away both, so it's brilliant. Well, I think that's important. So you're coming 43, and you're 4 foot 11 and a half. And what weight are you in kilos?
54.
54 kilos at the moment, and you deadlifted 102.5 kilos. Like, I think for context, like those stats, your age and your weight, not body weight, and all those things are really, really important. Like you said, somebody else was trying to lift 130,
Yeah.
or way heavier,
Yeah.
and they couldn't do it. So the power to weight ratio was, you've got it, you know.
Yeah, no, I'm delighted.
So,
like, very, very happy with it.
So yeah, no, well,
Yeah.
like, I know you're planning on doing some powerlifting and stuff
Yeah.
soon. We'll chat about that later. Nutrition, how have your nutritional needs or how have your habits changed in the last few years? Because I remember whenever you started, I'm like, well, how did you have a good
Yeah.
week? How was your nutrition? And you'd be like, yeah, I didn't eat all week pretty much. And it wasn't like you're starving yourself or you intentionally did it. You were just so busy with work. You were travelling to Dublin, you're travelling to Cork, you're travelling to Galway, and you were going about everywhere. Like, you should have had your own helicopter.
Yeah, I know. I think I should have. Yeah, at that stage. Yeah. So I never ate breakfast because I was always out the door for about maybe 5:15, 5:30. That's me, and I couldn't eat that early in the morning. You know, just that wouldn't work for me. So therefore, I never ate breakfast. I'd be in Dublin or wherever for about 7:30, 8, and I'd be straight into work. And a lot of the time, and anyone that travels a lot will get this, you kind of go, will I stop and eat and get home later?
Yeah.
Or will I just keep going? And I used to just keep going. So I did have an ability to not eat all day long and function and get home starving and, you know, gorge. But I did have that ability to go for hours without any food. So when people talk about this intermittent fasting, I've been doing that for years.
I invented that.
I invented that. Whereas now, because of I'm now no longer in that role and I'm in my own job and I have my own company, I'm eating breakfast every single morning. And if I miss breakfast, I am so I'm not angry, but I'm so hungry. Like I feel like I haven't ate for days.
Yeah.
So breakfast is a huge thing, and I've realised how important that is. You know, to get you set up for the day, and I missed that for years.
Yeah.
And I think now I eat more now because I can, because I've got more time to eat. And I eat better because I'm at home and I can have a salad or I can have chicken or I can have, you know, whatever. Whereas if you're on the road,
you're just grabbing some
and people say bring a lunch, but bringing the lunch in the car and it getting warm and soggy,
it's not very appealing.
You know, it's not very appealing.
No.
So my nutrition has certainly got a lot better. And Johnny, my partner, he's a fantastic cook and he will eat. I don't think there's a thing on this earth that he won't eat. He eats everything. But that's been very good for me because that's allowed me to test things that I wouldn't have tested.
Yeah.
So I'd say now I eat a nice varied mix of food. Probably still not enough protein for the lifts and stuff that I'm doing. But I eat a lot more then as well.
Yeah.
And it hasn't affected my weight at all.
Yeah.
You know, it's not as if now I'm eating more and I'm not travelling around, I've put on weight. That hasn't happened, you know.
Yeah. I know, because I think a lot of people struggle with this concept, but the more volume of food you put in doesn't necessarily mean the more calories. So you can have something like this size, and that could be your calories for the day, but you could also have like a huge 2 or 3 platefuls, and that could be your calories for the day.
Yeah.
If there's lots more fibre in it, and vitamins and minerals, and protein, and less carbs and fats. But and I'm always interested, I wake up every day thinking, how can I help clients more? Like, how can I help this person or that person with their nutrition, or, you know, guide them?
Yeah.
I'm always interested to know from a client's perspective, what do you see as the biggest barriers to kind of health, fitness, nutrition?
For me personally, like, I know that a lot of people that are doing weight, like, all I hear at the minute now is you need to be taking more protein, Kate, and, you know, protein, and I just couldn't do a protein shake, like that type of, it's just one step too far for me, you know, so, and I don't like milkshakes, I don't you know, so I would find them very, very difficult, but I am struggling with that in my head, because I'm thinking, okay, anyone, if I do, you know, go to a competition eventually, everyone that I'm probably going to compete against is probably taking, you know, that type of thing, and that is without a doubt helping them. And does that put me at some disadvantage, you know, by not really upping the protein? So I do struggle with that, because I kind of know I should, but and it might just be that I'm still in that journey. It takes me a while with foods. I can't be forced into it. So if somebody says take a protein shake, I go, absolutely not. You know, and when they stop telling me to take protein shakes, I might try it. So with me, I definitely don't like being told what to do. Probably why I opened my own business. So yeah, I think that's one of the things I struggle with is being told what to do versus being, you know, slightly coerced into it. So like, you don't say, right, you're going to lift 100, you just slip the weights in the bar. That works for me. That works for my type of personality. You know, that's better for how I kind of roll. No doubt. Don't know if that answers your question, but
I think So I think that's part of it, is trying to figure out each person's psychology, because it's not just simply doing the maths and figuring out how many calories. Like, that's the easy part. The maths is the easy part. I wasn't great at maths, but I can do that
Yeah.
part. But it is trying to tap into what sort of person you're dealing with, what have they in their past struggles, and what works for them.
Yeah, and I've never counted a calorie in my life.
Yeah.
And if you put 5 foods out here and said there was £1,000 to guess the calories, I would have zero idea.
Yeah.
I have no idea, but I've never counted calories.
I think most people would be the same, to be
no,
honest.
no clue,
Yeah.
whatsoever. Yeah.
Yeah, no, well, if you don't need to count them
Yeah.
at all, you don't need to bother. The only reason I would advocate calorie counting is if you are not happy with your body size, shape or weight, and you want to change something. It's the most scientific way.
Yeah.
There's no kind of quasi-science side of it, like Slimming World, Weight Watchers. Hopefully I'm offending somebody. probably somebody listening, but you know, it's not like kind of a bit silly. You know, one banana has this many calories, and you know, another banana sins and no sins and all that stuff. It's not that. Calories are calories. Your body doesn't care what you call them, sins or not sins and things like that. But no, that's the only reason I would advocate counting calories, and it's not, you should never do it indefinitely. If you're in a lifestyle of doing it indefinitely, there's a problem. Yeah, and I always say to people, because people do ask me, they say, Kate, how do you keep training? I actually don't have an answer to that. I've just always been high enough energy, and I just say, listen, if you want to lose weight, put out more than you put in. Yeah.
You know, if you want to gain weight, put in more than you put out. And if you're happy with how you are, keep doing what you're doing.
Keep doing.
You know,
until something changes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think the genetics are a big part of it.
Yeah.
But sometimes, that's the like energy out. You can't argue with that principle. Yeah. It's a scientific principle, and it's been pretty well established now. I haven't seen anyone disprove it. And no matter what people with shakes and things say, you know, take this detox or that detox, or magic coffee. And what are your current goals? Like, what are you aiming towards? Like, I know you had kind of powerlifting on the horizon.
Yeah.
You're doing some admin on a competition tomorrow. No,
Saturday. Yeah. So I had 110 at the deadlift because I'm way about 54, and that would be 108 to be double, you know, my body weight. And I thought, well, if I got to 110, even if I put on, you know, a wee bit here or lost a bit, 110 safe.
Yeah.
So 110 as a deadlift is definitely a goal.
Yeah.
And if I get to 100, when I get to 110, I'll be very, very happy because I'll have cleared that double the body weight. And that would be, that's just as a place in my head I want to get to. With the bench press, I want to get to my body weight. So if I can get to bench press my body weight, I'd be very, very happy with that. And then with the squat, I've got 100 in my head. Now I'm a fair bit off that, but that's kind of where I am in my head. So I've kind of got numbers, and I do that with lots of stuff. I'm a very goal-orientated person. I will set goals. I've set dates and timelines, and you know, in this case, actual physical weight against things.
Yes.
And that's kind of where I'm going to in my head. You know, I like to work towards something in that. I'm at the Northern Ireland Powerlifting Federation on Saturday. They're having a competition, so I've signed up as admin, so I'll be able to fit anybody that knows me and wants a good number on the day.
Slip you a tenner. This is going out.
A brown envelope would be very welcomed.
This is going out after the competition, thankfully, so no one's going to know this information.
But I do an admin there, so I hope to be able to learn lots and see what's their technique, what did that person do. You know, what's the rules in regards to, because they've got different rules as to when you can lift, when you stop, when you pause. And then my aim would be, once I figure all that out and get the under, you know, all the good stuff, to be able to enter something myself then. As a rookie,
that's brilliant. And I think having goals, something you can work towards, then it kind of dials everything else in, like your nutrition and your sleep, you know, trying to, you something to focus on, and you're not just going through the motions, you're not just exercising, you're training. You know,
and then we're doing part one of the Mourne Wall next Saturday, so it's about 22 miles, so I've got that. Because we're training for Kerry, we're doing Carnchill and Kerry with the walking group that I go with. So we've got that in August.
Brilliant.
So we're doing this kind of big walk next week to kind of get us ready for that. So there's a few little physical goals, you know, on the horizon there as well.
That's Trek NI.
Trek NI. Yep.
If you want to join.
Yep. Sign up.
So Kate, we're going to finish off. You have been sending hate mail in for weeks on end about my jokes. And I want you to bring something better today.
Well, I think that your talks are fantastic and like really, really knowledgeable, and you know, you bring a lot to the table. But I think you do yourself a discredit at the very last few seconds with those jokes.
Like you can't.
That's all I'm saying.
You can't be good at everything.
No, well, that's true.
You know, I'm not a comedian. No. I'm not trying to be a comedian. just a bit of light-hearted humour.
With really bad jokes.
With really bad jokes, dad jokes. I'm a dad now, I can do that.
Yeah.
What's your offering?
Oh my goodness, I never tell jokes.
A lot of pressure.
Ever, and I feel really pressurised here. So I texted my friend Jacqueline Gibson, who knows lots of jokes, and I said, Jacqueline, just give me a joke. So let me think if I can remember it.
She could just tell us a story.
And that would be a joke.
From her life. And that would be give a lot of laughs.
Oh my god, I'm going to get it wrong. So...
Should have written it down.
Jimmy and Sean are on the plane to America.
Yeah.
And Jimmy says to Sean, Sean, do you think if this plane lands upside down, we'll fall out? And Sean says to Jimmy, nah, me and you're going to be buddies for life. That's all credibility.
That's good. I'm easily pleased with jokes. I laugh at pretty much anything.
Any strain of respectability I had, now Stuart's gone out.
That's good, but I think there's going to be a significant downturn in hate mail for jokes in the coming weeks after that. No, that's good. I like that one.
Yeah.
I do like that one.
Yes, thanks, Jacqueline.
If you've any complaints, do send them in. So yeah, if you want to know more about Kate and her services, do you have anything else to add, Kate, before we?
No, I've really enjoyed it, and if you're interested in training, cross-functional fitness is the place to go. For banter, you know, I've been thinking about this as well. Like the banter here, as you've probably gathered, this is like a normal training session. Only there would be weights involved. The banter, the crack, the atmosphere, but also that pushing on. You know, like never allowing. Like I come in thinking at 100, I'll do 100 now for a few weeks, and straight away it was 102.5, and I'm going, I didn't sign up to this. So that mixture of pushing and coaching with the bit of crack is what I love most about it.
There's a lot of interesting people come here, isn't it? Like good
nice
people,
mix,
good people, and it's always a nice balance, a nice atmosphere, and I know you with your online agency and everything, the stuff you put out, the content and all. There's some of the girls and some of the ladies in here would follow your content, and they all say, "Oh, who's that lady Kate? I follow her. Her stuff's really good, you know, online." So like, I don't think you know like the good you're doing, like for even younger generation, and like. Not to make you sound old, but like you're kind of like a role model to other people, and they come in and see you like lifting these badass weights, and they're just like, "Oh, the size that way, girl, and she's doing that," you know, and that kind of pushes people on because I think guys in our head we think we're strong, and then we'll see a girl lifting, and we're like, "That's she's doing my weight for her warm up there," you know, like, and then that kind of puts perspective. There's a bit to go, and there's always someone a wee bit ahead of you, and always keep pushing. But no, it's you're always a pleasure to have about the gym. The atmosphere, as you say, is always great, and you contribute greatly to that. But yeah, if you want to know more about Kate and her services, you can find them at the following. So theonlegsagency.co.uk. You can email her at info@theonlegsagency.co.uk, and LinkedIn, Kate Rooney, The On Legs Agency. Facebook at The On Legs Agency, and Instagram _on_legs_agency as well. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah, Kate, it's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure. Sure. Thank you very much.
I'll see you probably tomorrow.
See you tomorrow at 8 o'clock.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.